In the stillness of your being, in the gentle heartbeat of existence, there lies a truth that transcends time and space. Presence is the only place power exists. It is not in the rush of yesterday's regret, nor in the anxious anticipation of tomorrow's uncertainty. True power resides not in what you possess, nor in the accomplishments you gather, but in your ability to be fully, completely present in the moment. This moment, this sacred now, the very instant in which you are reading these words, breathing these breaths, feeling this life. You see, there is a secret that the world has tried to mask, a truth that is often hidden in the noise and chaos of everyday life. You are not what has happened to you. You are not what you fear may come. You are not the thoughts that whirl in your mind like a tempest. You are none of these things. You are that which observes, that which witnesses, the space between thoughts, the stillness beneath the surface of the storm. You are presence. This is where power begins, not in the constant striving of the ego, which forever seeks to validate itself in the eyes of others, not in the endless pursuit of accomplishments, possessions, and accolades. These are fleeting, temporary. They come and go like waves crashing against the shore. But what remains? The shore itself, the stillness that watches all things, unaffected, unmoved by the tides of external events. That is the power of presence. The ego, in its endless quest for validation, has convinced you that power lies in control, in force, in manipulation. It whispers to you that the more you can control, the more you can acquire, the more you can conquer, the more powerful you will become. But this is a lie. True power lies not in what you can control, but in what you can surrender, in the letting go. Imagine for a moment that you are standing on the edge of a vast ocean. The waves are crashing violently, the winds howling, the water churning in every direction. The chaos is overwhelming, and yet you stand firm, unmoved. You do not attempt to control the ocean. You do not try to stop the waves or still the wind. No. Instead, you surrender. You let the ocean be what it is. And in that surrender, you become one with the ocean. You feel the rhythm of the waves. You align with the movement of the water. In that surrender, you discover a stillness that was always there, beneath the surface of the storm. That stillness is the power of presence. We have been conditioned to believe that the answer to life's challenges lies in action, in doing, in achieving. And while action has its place, it is not the source of true power. True power comes when we stop trying to force life to be something it is not, and instead allow life to flow through us as it was always meant to. In the acceptance of what is and the surrender to the present moment, we find our true strength. This is the paradox of life. In surrender, we gain. In letting go, we hold everything. The moment you stop struggling, the moment you stop trying to control, you align with the flow of the universe. You become like a leaf on the surface of a river, floating effortlessly downstream. The current of life carries you, and in that surrender, you find your purpose, your power, your peace. But this is not something the ego can understand. The ego, ever hungry for more, cannot fathom the concept of surrender. It is only when we step outside the grasp of the ego, when we stop identifying with the false sense of self that is constantly trying to prove its worth, that we begin to experience the power of presence. The ego is not who you are. It is a construct, a collection of thoughts and beliefs that have been shaped by the past, by the opinions of others, by society. But who you are is not a thought. You are not your beliefs. You are not your past. You are presence itself. And in that presence, all things are possible. Not because you will them into being, but because you align with the flow of life, which is constantly unfolding. You see, when you are present, you become an instrument of the universe. You are no longer the one trying to control and manipulate. You are the one being moved. And in this state of alignment, you discover a power far greater than anything the ego could ever create. This is the power of being. This is the power of now. But to experience this, you must first be willing to release the illusion of control. You must be willing to let go of your attachment to outcomes, to expectations, to the idea that you need to have everything figured out. You are already enough. You always have been. Your worth is not dependent on your achievements, your possessions, or the approval of others. Your worth is inherent in the very fact that you exist. You are a divine expression of life itself, a unique manifestation of the universe's infinite creativity. You are already whole. This is why presence is the only place power exists. In the present moment, there is no need to prove yourself. There is no need to seek validation from others or chase after fleeting desires. In the now, you are already everything you need to be. All the power you seek, all the answers you are searching for, are contained in this moment. You are the source of your own power. And so the invitation is simple. Be present. Be here. Be now. Stop running from the present moment. Stop avoiding what is. Stop resisting the flow of life. When you surrender to the present, you allow yourself to be filled with the power of the universe. You allow yourself to be guided by an intelligence far greater than anything the mind can comprehend. And in that guidance, you will find peace. You will find joy. You will find love. You will find freedom. The past no longer has any hold over you, for it is only a memory. The future is but a dream, a projection of the mind. The only place where life is real, where life is happening, is in the present moment. And in that moment, you are free. You are powerful. This is the essence of who you are. You are not a separate individual struggling to survive. You are not your thoughts, your emotions, or your story. You are the presence that witnesses it all. You are the stillness beneath the surface. You are the ocean, vast and infinite, capable of containing all things. When you awaken to this truth, you awaken to your true power. You no longer need to chase after success, recognition, or validation. You no longer need to prove yourself to anyone, including yourself. You simply need to be. And in that being, you will discover a strength beyond measure, a peace beyond comprehension, and a love that transcends all understanding. So, let go of the past. Let go of the future. Let go of the struggle, the effort, the need to control, and simply be present. In the present, you are whole. In the present, you are powerful. In the present, you are free. And as you embrace this truth, you will begin to see the world around you change. The circumstances that once seemed overwhelming will no longer have the power to shake you. The challenges that once seemed insurmountable will no longer feel like obstacles. For when you are grounded in the present, nothing can disturb your peace. Nothing can take away your power. You are presence. This is your true nature. This is the power you have always possessed. You were never broken. You were never lacking. You were never incomplete. You were always whole. And now, you are awake to the truth. The truth that presence is the only place power exists. The truth that you are not your thoughts, your emotions, or your circumstances. You are the stillness that witnesses it all. You are the presence that is always here, always now, always free. And in that freedom, you will discover a life far more beautiful than anything the ego could ever create. A life filled with peace, with love, with joy, with grace. A life where you are no longer bound by the past, no longer fearful of the future, but free to live fully, freely, and powerfully in the now. Presence is the only place power exists. And now you know the truth. When you allow yourself to truly be present, you begin to realize that the moment is all there is, All that you've been seeking, all that you've been running after is already here in front of you, waiting to be acknowledged. It's not hidden in some far-off future or locked away in the depths of the past. It's here, right now. The power that you seek to change your life is here in this moment, in this breath, in this stillness. The ego, in its search for meaning and value, believes it needs to gather more, achieve more, become more. It whispers, "You must have this before you can be happy. You must accomplish that before you can be worthy." But this is the illusion, for you are already enough. You were never lacking, never incomplete. It was never about becoming anything more. It was always about remembering who you are and allowing yourself to be that truth in every moment. When we surrender the belief that we need to chase or strive, we step into the power of presence. Surrender is not weakness, it is strength. Surrendering to what is in this moment allows us to move with the flow of life rather than against it. It is like a river that no longer fights the rocks and obstacles in its path, but flows effortlessly around them. In that flow, it finds its strength, its purpose. In this moment, right now, you can stop seeking, you can stop fighting, you can stop running. You are home. There is nothing to prove, nowhere to go. Just breathe. Feel your heart beating, the air filling your lungs, the pulse of life coursing through your veins. You are already living the miracle. The miracle is, in this moment, in the ordinary, the mundane, the breath of life itself. In the realm of presence, there is no room for judgment, comparison, or competition. These are all constructs of the mind, the ego, that cause us to measure ourselves against others, to believe that we are either too much or not enough. But you are not your mind. You are not your judgments or your comparisons. You are the awareness that witnesses all of it, the silent observer, untouched by the fluctuations of thought and emotion. When you move beyond the identification with the ego, you experience a deep sense of peace. It is the peace of knowing that nothing can disturb your essence. Nothing can take away your worth. You are. And that is enough. The noise of the world may try to pull you in, but you remain anchored in your center, in the stillness of presence, where nothing external can alter the truth of who you are. Think about the times when you felt most alive, when you were so deeply immersed in an experience that the rest of the world faded away. Perhaps it was in a moment of deep connection with another, in a creative flow, or simply in the quiet of nature. In those moments, you were fully present. There was no past pulling at you, no future waiting to be fulfilled. You were simply here, and that was enough. That is the state of power, pure presence. You see, power doesn't lie in control or manipulation. It doesn't lie in forcing things to happen or trying to change the world on your terms. True power lies in surrendering to the natural flow of life, in allowing the universe to work through you rather than trying to force it to conform to your desires. The moment you let go of the need to control, the moment you let go of your attachment to outcomes, you align with the greater wisdom that already knows the way. This is why we must learn to trust. Trust in the process of life. Trust that everything is unfolding exactly as it should, even when we cannot see the bigger picture. Trust that each moment has its own perfection, even in the midst of challenge. When you trust, you release the weight of worry, the burden of control, and step into the freedom of being. The present moment is the only true point of power because it is the only moment that is real. The past is a shadow, a memory. The future is an idea, a projection. Only now, this very moment, holds the power to change your life. The key to transformation is not in what you will do tomorrow or what you have done in the past. It is in what you choose to do right now. So, I ask you to consider, what would your life look like if you truly embraced the power of presence? What would it feel like to let go of the need to be anywhere other than here, to stop searching for happiness in the future, to stop chasing validation in the eyes of others? Imagine the peace, the freedom, the power that would arise from simply being who you are in this moment without judgment, without striving. The truth is, the more you let go of the need to control and the more you embrace the present, the more you will experience your true self. You will discover a version of you that is whole, complete, and powerful beyond measure. The world may continue to swirl around you, but you will remain anchored in your truth, grounded in your essence, clear in your purpose, and in that truth, you will find the most profound freedom. The freedom to be yourself, to live authentically, and to trust that life will guide you exactly where you need to go. This is the gift of presence. It is not something you need to achieve or acquire. It is already within you, waiting to be remembered, to be embraced. So now, as you sit in this moment, take a deep breath. Feel the power of your presence. You are not the thoughts that come and go. You are not the emotions that rise and fall. You are the stillness behind it all, the awareness that observes, the soul that is always connected to the infinite. You are power. And from this moment, you are free. Free to be exactly who you are. Free to let go of everything that no longer serves you. Free to step into the flow of life with trust, with peace, and with the knowing that the power you seek is already within you. This is the truth of who you are. Presence is the only place power exists. And now you have remembered you are home. When you are present, you become a clear vessel through which life can flow. It's like a stream that no longer fights the rocks and obstacles in its path, but moves effortlessly around them, shaping its course. The water doesn't struggle to find its way, it simply follows the path of least resistance. This is the flow of life, and when you are in alignment with it, you cease to struggle. The path unfolds before you, not through your effort, but through your willingness to be. You are the river, and the river is you. This is not a passive state. This is not the surrender of a weak or timid spirit. It is the surrender of the one who understands their true strength. The strength that arises when you stop forcing life to conform to your desires and instead allow life to reveal its truth to you. You don't need to control. You don't need to manipulate. You only need to trust. Trust that everything is unfolding for you, even when the picture is not yet clear. Trust that the timing of your life is always perfect, even when it feels like things are not moving as fast as you'd like. In presence, you find freedom. The kind of freedom that isn't dependent on circumstances or external validation. The kind of freedom that is born from knowing that you are already whole, that you are enough in this moment, right now. You no longer need to prove yourself. You no longer need to compare yourself to others. You no longer need to chase after something you think you are missing. You are whole. The ego will try to tell you otherwise, of course. It will whisper in your ear that you need to be more, do more, have more. It will point to the achievements of others and tell you that you are somehow lacking. But that voice is not the truth. The truth is that you are not defined by your accomplishments, your possessions, or the opinions of others. You are defined by your presence. The moment you realize this, you are free. Free from the constant chase. Free from the need for external validation. Free from the belief that you must become something other than what you are. You are already everything you need to be. In the moment you stop seeking validation, you find the power of acceptance. Acceptance of what is. The moment you stop fighting against the present moment, you begin to align with it. And when you align with it, you align with the power that already exists in the present moment, the power of now. This power is not something that can be taken from you. It is eternal, unshakable. It does not rely on circumstances, on success, on failure. It is the foundation of your being. This is the essence of who you are. So, when life presents challenges, when obstacles arise, when the world feels heavy, remember this: you are not the challenge. You are the presence that witnesses it. And in that presence, you are free. In that presence, you are powerful. In that presence, you can face any challenge with calm, with clarity, and with strength. The key to transforming your life is not in trying harder, working more, or struggling against the flow. It is in surrendering to the moment. It is in letting go of the need to control, of the need to know what will happen next, and simply trusting that you are being guided. Trusting that the very universe that created you is unfolding with perfect precision, and when you surrender to that, you align yourself with that wisdom, with that intelligence, and you discover a peace that no external circumstance can take away. This is the power of presence. Now, let me ask you this. What would happen if you stopped seeking to change the moment? What if you simply accepted the present exactly as it is? Not as a form of resignation or passivity, but as a conscious choice to live fully, to experience this moment as it is without the need to alter it or resist it. Imagine what could unfold when you no longer waste energy wishing things were different. When you stop running from your feelings, your thoughts, your experiences. When you embrace the full spectrum of life, knowing that it all plays a part in your journey, what could unfold in your life if you embraced each moment as perfect, as complete, as divine? When you are in presence, you are no longer subject to the fluctuations of the external world. You are no longer swayed by the praise of others, nor crushed by their criticism. You become rooted in the unshakable truth that you are enough, just as you are. In that truth, you can move through the world with confidence and grace, not because you have everything figured out, but because you are no longer dependent on external validation. This is not to say that you do not take action, that you do not create or build, or that you become passive. Rather, it is to say that your actions come from a place of inner peace and alignment, rather than from a place of fear or egoic need. When you act from presence, you act with clarity. You move with intention. You don't force things to happen, but you work in harmony with the flow of life. And the result? You move through life with ease, with joy, and with grace. Your life begins to unfold effortlessly because you are no longer fighting against the current. You are the current. You are the flow. You are presence. In every moment of presence, you are free. Free from the weight of your past, free from the fear of your future, free to be fully alive in this moment. And when you live in this freedom, you begin to experience the depth of life's richness. You begin to experience the beauty that exists in the simplest moments, the way the sun feels on your skin, the sound of the wind through the trees, the smile of a stranger, the touch of a loved one. These are the moments that make life worth living. These are the moments where you find joy, where you find love, where you find peace, and these moments are always available to you when you are fully present. So, let go of the past. Let go of the future. Let go of everything that has ever told you that you are not enough, that you need to be something else, and simply be. Be here. Be now. Be who you are. And in that being, you will discover the greatest power of all the power of presence. The power to be yourself. The power to live fully. The power to experience life as it was always meant to be lived. This is your birthright. You are presence. And in that presence, you are free. And so, my friend, in this moment, you stand at the threshold of a new way of being. You stand at the edge of an ocean, waiting to dive in and experience its vast, boundless depths. You have already discovered that presence is not a place you go, but a place you are. It is the eternal truth that resides in the heart of all things. It is the power you were born with, the gift that is given to you in every single breath you take. The only question now is, will you choose to stay present? Will you choose to let go of the past, release the need for control, and live fully in the moment? Because when you do, you will find that you are no longer seeking the life you want, you are simply living it. When you embrace this truth, you will no longer search for happiness in distant horizons. You will know that happiness is not something to be found. It is something that arises when you are fully present with life as it is. You will stop chasing after future dreams, believing that they hold the key to your peace. Peace is here now. In every heartbeat, in every inhale and exhale, you carry within you the seed of transformation. The power to heal, the power to create, the power to love is not out there. It is here, in you. And when you embrace this power, the world will transform with you. The people around you will feel it, the opportunities will appear, and the universe will conspire to bring you everything you need. So, as you move forward, remember this. Presence is not a state you achieve through effort, but through surrender. It is not something you need to prove or earn. It is your natural state. You are already whole, already powerful, already enough. And the moment you step into this truth, you are free. You are free to live, to love, to create, and to be. You are presence. And in that presence, you are infinite. Close the door to the outer world for just a moment. In silence, we awaken. In stillness, we command. You were never meant to beg life for crumbs. You were meant to declare and see the world bow to your declaration. Never complain. When you complain, you agree with limitation. You tell the universe, I accept this. But the truth is, your acceptance is the only thing keeping it alive. Complaining feeds the illusion. It strengthens the shadows. The moment you stop speaking of what you hate, you starve it of life. Never explain. You owe no one an explanation for your dreams, your silence, or your certainty. To explain is to defend, and to defend is to doubt. Let your life speak for itself. Let your transformation become the answer to every question. When you know what you are doing inwardly, explanation becomes unnecessary. The one who manifests miracles is not loud. They are not desperate. They are calm, certain quietly. Sure, they move through the world knowing that what they have imagined must appear. The world bends to the unseen self. This is law. You are not here to fight reality. You are here to replace it. And how do you do that? By refusing to entertain what no longer serves you, by never speaking of it again, by not giving it one more second of your precious energy. The moment you decide to no longer complain or explain, you have stepped into power. The miracle is not coming from out there. It's not delayed. It's not complicated. It is already prepared. It only waits for your assumption. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Assume it so deeply, so faithfully, that the world has no choice but to reflect it. Be still now. Let no outer voice disturb you. Let no need for validation creep in. Let no hunger for sympathy draw you back into the world of excuses. You are done explaining. You are done complaining. You are ready to command silence your doubts, dwell in your desire, live from the end, and miracles will not be rare, they will be routine. Never complain. Never explain. Manifest silence is not the absence of sound. It is the presence of power. It is the quiet confidence of the one who knows who they are, and what they possess within the person who remains silent in a noisy world is not weak, but supremely strong. They have withdrawn their energy from the outer chaos and anchored it in the inner kingdom. They understand something sacred, that words are seeds and not every field is worthy of planting. To complain is to speak from a state of powerlessness. It is the act of reinforcing that which you no longer wish to experience. Every complaint is a repetition of lack, a declaration that the outer world is your master. But the awakened mind knows that reality is not to be obeyed. It is to be shaped. Complaining feeds the problem. Silence stops it. And so the confident mind chooses stillness. Not out of indifference, but out of intention. Likewise, to explain yourself constantly is to reveal uncertainty. You explain when you believe you must earn understanding. When you seek approval, when you are not yet convinced that your own inner knowing is enough. But the one who walks in alignment with their vision knows that explanations are unnecessary. They do not defend their desires. They do not justify their path. They simply walk it and let the results speak. The more certain you are within, the less you need to be validated without. Silence then becomes your most potent statement. It is the invisible signal that you have turned within, that you are now communing with the infinite, not pleading with the finite. When you say nothing but believe everything, you become magnetic. Others feel the shift in your energy. They may not understand it, but they respond to it. The world begins to conform, not because you shouted, not because you begged, but because you dared to trust in the unseen. Your imagination is your sacred temple. What you build there, in stillness and in faith, becomes flesh. And so, the confident mind doesn't speak of what it doesn't want. It speaks only of what is already done in consciousness, or it remains utterly still, allowing the inner picture to grow in silence, for just as seeds do not sprout when constantly disturbed, manifestations do not flourish when constantly doubted. To master your reality, master your silence, not as repression, but as reverence, not as avoidance, but as divine strategy. Speak only when your words add power to the vision. Otherwise, let your silence become your shield. Let it be your stance. Let it announce to the universe, I know who I am, I know what I have assumed, I know it is done, and in that quiet, knowing, the miracle appears not as a surprise, but as the most natural outcome of a mind that never complained, never explained, and never doubted its own creative authority. You are always manifesting whether you realize it or not. Every moment of your life is a reflection of your inner state. Yet your thoughts are not idle. Your emotions are not meaningless. What you consistently accept as true within yourself, whether through worry or wonder, complaint or creation, becomes the blueprint for your reality. This is the unchanging law. Many believe manifestation is something that begins when you sit in meditation. Write down affirmations or visualize a goal, but that is only part of the picture. Manifestation is not a switch you turn on and off. It is constant. Every belief you carry, every story you repeat to yourself, every assumption you refuse to challenge is actively shaping the world around you. The question is not whether, the question is what are you manifesting when you complain? You affirm that the problem is real, powerful, and persistent. You attach yourself to the very condition you wish to change. You feed the energy of lack and limitation. And because your subconscious mind accepts repetition as truths, it takes those complaints as instructions, it says. So this is what we believe now, and proceeds to build your world accordingly. Complaint is not harmless. It is creation in disguise, and it creates precisely what you do not want. But when you choose to create, you begin to use your mind on purpose. You shift from reality to intention, from fear to faith. But when you choose to create, you begin to use your mind on purpose. You tap into the real power. You begin to use your mind on purpose. You shift from reality to intention. You shift from reality instead of to feel. You begin to use your mind on purpose. You shift from reality. This is why your inner world is so vital. It is the garden from which all else grows. If you fill it with weeds of worry, weeds will appear in your outer life. But if you plant seeds of certainty, beauty, wealth, and peace, those two will rise and take form. What you nourish within is what takes shape without. And your attention is the water that determines which grow. Choose wisely. Your mind is not a playground, it is sacred ground. To entertain every complaint, every doubt, every negative assumption is to misuse divine power. But to speak as though it is done to feel the joy of fulfillment. Now to refuse to dwell in lack. This is mastery. This is living deliberately. You manifest not by force, but by faith, not by effort, but by assumption. And the universe is not judging what you want. It is simply mirroring what you persistently believe. So watch your inner conversations. Notice the stories you tell. Are they leading you toward what you desire or anchoring you in what you fear? Every thought is a seed. Every feeling is a command. Every assumption is a silent prayer. You are always manifesting. And the life you live today began in the thoughts you entertained yesterday. Choose now with purpose, and tomorrow will reflect the wisdom of that choice. The explanation is for the unbelieving. It is the language of doubt, the gesture of someone trying to be convinced by others because they have not yet convinced themselves. But once you truly believe, once you have seen the desire in your mind's eye and accepted it as real, there is no urge to explain. There is only quiet certainty, calm knowing, and the unwavering expectation that it must unfold. When you live from imagination, you are walking a path that most cannot see. Your vision is invisible to others, and because they cannot see what you see, they may question, challenge, or misunderstand you. But you do not owe anyone the burden of explanation. You are not required to justify your dreams to those who are bound by appearances. The creative act is sacred, private, and personal. It takes place within you. It is validated not by argument, but by manifestation. You must understand this. The only evidence you ever need is the result. Once the desire appears in your outer world, number one will question how it came. They will see it and it will speak for itself. But until then, you are planting invisible seeds, and if you speak too soon, explaining, defending, reasoning, you're often digging up what has not yet had time to bloom. To explain is often to weaken. It is to step down from the throne of inner authority and seek permission from the crowd, but those who manifest consistently do not seek approval. They are not moved by opinion. They are not shaken by disbelief. They live from the end, and in doing so, they walk in peace. You must remember your imagination is divine. It is the place where all things begin. If you have seen it clearly in your inner world, you do not need to explain it in the outer world. The moment you feel the need to justify your desire, you have already moved away from it. The moment you seek validation, you have placed your power in the hands of another. So be still. Assume the feeling, occupy the state, walk as though it is already done. When you do this, you will discover something profound. The need for explanation disappears. You no longer care whether others understand or approve. You know the law. You know the process, and you know that what you have imagined must become your experience. Let your life be the proof. Let your peace be the message. Let your results speak so loudly that explanations are no longer necessary. This is the mark of one who walks by inner vision, not outer sight. When you truly believe, you don't need to talk about it, you embody it. You don't argue for it. You live from it, and in time the world will see what you saw in silence. Then and only then will they understand. Until that day, remain unmoved. You owe them nothing but the radiance of your certainty. The more you speak of lack, the more you experience it. Words are not just sounds, they are declarations of belief, expressions of consciousness. When you speak of not having, of what's missing, of what's wrong, you are not merely describing your world, you are shaping it. You are impressing upon your subconscious a state of limitation, and because your inner world is the source of all outer expression, lack must then multiply in your life. Every complaint is a rehearsal of powerlessness. It is a performance of defeat, a confession that you believe something outside of you holds the power. When you complain, you are saying this condition is greater than I am. I am subject to it. I am helpless before it. And though you may not mean it consciously, your subconscious mind hears the message clearly and obeys you. See, the subconscious does not reason. It does not argue. It simply accepts repeated feeling tone thoughts as truth. It mirrors back to you without bias what you dwell upon consistently. So when you're in a conversation, is one of worry, frustration, or lack, your life begins to reflect more of that tone. It is not punishment, it is law, but the wise do not waste words. They do not speak of what they do not want. They understand the creative power of the tongue, and so they choose silence when they are tempted to vent, complain, or explain failure. They know that silence in the face of adversity is not denial. It is discipline. It is the refusal to energize a reality that is passing away. Speak only of what you desire. Declare the end from the beginning. Describe your life not as it is, but as it will be, once your desire is fulfilled. Not to convince others, but to align yourself. You are not affirming to beg the universe. You are affirming to remind yourself of the truth that all things are possible and all things are done to you as you believe. And if you cannot speak of your desire with confidence, then speak not at all. Remain still, go within, feel the wish fulfilled in the sanctuary of your mind. Let the silence carry the vibration of certainty. Let your quiet be your strength. In stillness, you are closest to the source, and from that stillness, creation flows without resistance. There is power and restraint power in choosing your words with care. Power in knowing when to be silent. For the one who no longer needs to voice their struggle has already left that struggle behind in consciousness. They have moved to the new state, and the old one is already fading. Do not speak of lack. Do not rehearse suffering. Do not describe what you no longer wish to live. Speak of your desire as real, or speak not at all. Your words are either watering the seed of your dream or feeding the weeds of your doubt. Choose them with reverence. Let your speech be sacred. Let your silence be strategic, and let your life be the proof. Miracles are normal when you assume your desire. What the world often calls extraordinary, supernatural, or impossible is, in truth, the natural result of an inner certainty. There is no magic involved, no special favor granted from above. There is only a quiet, unwavering assumption that what you desire is already yours, and the world then reshapes itself to reflect that conviction. Assumption is not a weak hope or a casual wish. It is a state of being. It is living from the end. When you assume your desire, you move beyond the question of if or how, you rest in the knowing that it is already done. You walk differently, you speak differently, your inner dialogue shifts, and this change in your inner world is what alters the outer. To the one who doubts, the fulfillment of desire seems like a miracle, they say. How did this happen? How is it possible? No. But to the one who understands the law, it is the most natural thing in the world. It could not have happened any other way. The assumption of the wish fulfilled plants succeed in consciousness, and consciousness, being the only creative power, must bring it forth. There is no effort required in this process, only alignment. The seed does not strive to become the tree, it simply contains within it the knowing of what it is. Likewise, your assumption contains the blueprint of your desire. Once fully accepted, it begins to unfold not because you force it, but because it is already written in the invisible. Most people attempt to manifest by forcing circumstances, chasing opportunities, and trying to control outcomes. The true creation begins within. You do not need to manipulate the world. You only need to occupy the state. When you become one with the feeling of already having what you want, the world must conform. That is law. That is order. What others call a miracle is merely the result of someone dwelling in the right state long enough for the world to catch up. You must understand reality is malleable. It is shaped not by effort, but by consciousness. It reflects back to your dominant assumptions, those things you accept as true without resistance. So when you assume abundance, abundance flows. When you assume love, love arrives. When you assume healing, healing occurs. And to those around you, it may appear as a miracle, but to you it was simply the natural result of your inner conviction. You are not asking the world to give you something that already exists in another dimension of possibility. You are simply selecting it by assuming it. There is no begging, pleading, or waiting. There is only choosing, aligning, and trusting. So let go of the idea that miracles are rare. Let go of the belief that you must suffer, strive, or earn your desire. Yes, assume your wish is fulfilled. Now walk in that state, feel the relief live from the end, and you will discover that miracles are not exceptions. They are the rules disengaged from the outer command. The inner this is the secret path of all transformation. The world of appearances, the conditions, the circumstances, the facts is not the source of your experience. It is the echo, the shadow, the output picturing of an earlier state of mind. To wrestle with it is to try and change the reflection in the mirror rather than the face itself. It is futile, exhausting, and fruitless. You must turn away from the illusion and direct your gaze inward where all true power lies. The outer world is always late. It is always behind. What you see with your eyes is not the present. It is the past crystallized. The moment you recognize this, you free yourself. You stop reacting. You stop chasing you. Stop explaining or complaining. Instead, you begin to create consciously by mastering the inner realm. To command the inner means to choose deliberately the thoughts you think, the emotions you dwell in, and the scenes you play within your imagination. It means holding firmly to your vision in the face of contradiction, not because you are stubborn, but because you understand that what shall be already is. In the unseen, in the eternal, in the imagination. And if you persist there, the outer must conform. When you invest attention in what shall be, you are not escaping reality. You are creating it. You're moving from the temporary to the permanent, from the visible to the cause. It is not denial of what is, it is transcendence of it. You acknowledge what is happening. But you refuse to let it dictate your inner world. You choose instead to dwell in the unseen state of fulfillment, and in time, the outer must catch up. There is great power in withdrawing attention. Where your focus goes, energy flows, and if you continue to stare at problems, they grow. But if you turn within and dwell on the solution begins to manifest. This is not wishful thinking. It is alignment with the law of consciousness. You are always manifesting. The only question is whether you are doing it deliberately or by default. This engagement is not inaction. It is inspired non-reaction. It is the deliberate choice to no longer be a victim of appearances. It is refusing to let the outer world define your mood, your belief, or your identity. You step into your role as creator and withdraw from the drama of conditions, commanding the inner his quiet work. It is done in solitude, in silence, in the stillness of your heart and mind. But though it appears subtle, it moves mountains. The world bends to the one who is. Unmoved by it, creation begins the moment you stop reacting and start assuming. So stop wrestling, stop explaining, stop worrying. Turn within, see the desire fulfilled. Feel the relief of already having walk in that inner conviction. And as surely as the sun rises, the outer world will follow. It must, because it is only ever a reflection of what lives within you. When you no longer complain, no longer explain, and instead choose to quietly assume your desire is already fulfilled, you rise above the illusion of lack, fear, and doubt. You become still not because you are passive, but because you now understand that creation begins in silence. In that silence, you no longer react to the outer world. You command the inner one, and from that inner command miracles flow. What the world calls supernatural is nothing more than the natural outcome of a disciplined mind. You no longer beg for change, you become the change. You no longer seek permission. You walk in authority. You no longer explain your vision, you live it. That is true power to remember this. Never complain, never explain manifest miracles. Let your results speak for you. Let your silence build worlds. Let your assumption become your experience. Thank you for listening.